It's Saturday. You know what that means. Here she is, guys. This is Persephone, the moment you've been waiting for, the very first time that you, on this channel, will get to see her. I forgot, the case is locked. Jump cut. It's been unlocked the whole time. Just go ahead and ignore the last second and a half of footage. And that weird jump cut. It was my camera. Promise, no jump cut actually, right? There she is. In all her glory, right here. See how shiny this is? This is made from fine brass. I'm telling you guys, this is something else right now. I mean, oh man, words can't express. I used to play, I still do play my Barry sax. It's a school saxophone that's printed. And that was the case for the alto for a really long time. So to provide context, this is brand new. I just got it recently and I own this thing outright, which is really exciting. So as an introduction, I want to go ahead and teach you some things in case you weren't aware. So this right here is called the neck. This right here is called the body, but this part right here specifically right here is called the bell. These white things are made from pearls and they are the keys. You press them down to make different notes. This right here is called the mouthpiece, and that metal thing on top of it is called the ligature. And then the way you make sound on it is you put a little thin piece of wood on the mouthpiece, and it's held on by the ligature, and the three of them combined create vibrations using your own air. And then the vibrations get echoed and magnified through the tubing of the saxophone, and it makes a louder sound. And then you press down the keys to make the saxophone slightly shorter or longer to make the pitch higher or lower. So let's put this baby together so you can hear what it sounds like. So if you go to the doctor and you put those tongue depressors in your tongue and you don't like that, I wouldn't suggest playing the saxophone. Gosh, unless you get synthetic reeds, which are really expensive, you have to use cane reeds, which this is the little thin piece of wood I was thinking about. But this only works if the wood is wet, and water doesn't really work that well. I don't know why we don't just dip it in water, but you know, it's just common to get wet with your saliva. So if you love the taste of the tongue depressors that they use in the doctor's office, then you should pick up saxophone. Aha. And once you get the reed moist, take it and you put it on the mouthpiece. And some of this may be cut, some of it may not be cut. I do all one takes, by the way. However, parts of the take get edited or cut depending on the video length and the video quality, because even though I do prefer doing one takes, I also prefer giving as best video quality as I can provide. So yeah. I would play, because technically you do just this right here, the most annoying kazoo in existence, I'm telling you. If you want to drive someone crazy, just buy a mouthpiece, a ligature, and a reed. It's simplified. You can get like I'm sure you can get a cheap mouthpiece for $20. I mean, I don't know, they run up to like $500. Like, these things are not cheap, but I'm sure you can get a cheap one for $20, and then get a ligature for like another $20, and get a package of reeds for like $10 or something like that. Spend $50 to get the most annoying noisemaker ever, and if you only have one reed, it only lasts 2 weeks. So that's fine, because you have to replace reeds every so many weeks, by the way. I will not torture you and play this in this video. However, if you demand it enough, Psycho Kun says I'm not allowed to ignore you guys. So if you demand it enough, oh wait, I'm looking up here, but the camera's down here. Sorry. If you demand this enough, I'm gonna have to do it, but I'm just not gonna do it now, because I personally don't think that this is something that you want to hear. But if you persuade me otherwise, you tell me that it's something you want to hear, I might do it. This is, like I said, the neck. You attach the neck and the mouthpiece together using this cork. Now, if you have a saxophone yourself and the mouthpiece doesn't work on the neck easily, it just means that you need to apply cork grease. I'll show you what that looks like. Come in bottles like this. They look like chapstick. It's not chapstick. Don't make that mistake. It's not pleasant. And this is what it sounds like on the neck. No instrument with it. You can do a pressure test as well to make sure that if you put the reed on, because if you put the reed on correctly, if you cover up the bottom of the neck with the palm of your hand and you blow, no sound will come out. But as soon as you move your hand, sound comes out. And that's because the pressure here should be like sealed off, like no air should escape at all. And you do that by making sure you have a good embouchure, which is the shape of your mouth, and also by making sure that the reed is on there correctly. And you can't really see it because I'm using my phone. My phone's got a limited point of view, and I don't have a cameraman, so I just kind of have to like set it there and work around it. But the whole saxophone is here now, okay? I'm just gonna play, for me it's a D, but it's concert F, which means if someone were to sing this note, or if you were to play it on the piano, it would be an F, but on the saxophone it's a D. Alright, I'm gonna go tune this up, get it a little bit slightly more in tune, because I'm pretty sure it already is in tune, but just go ahead and double check. I'll go ahead and do that real quick. And then I'm also going to pull up, why do I keep looking up there? The camera's not up there. Normally I have my phone facing a different position. The camera's right there, but it's not there anymore. It's there. I'll get used to that, I promise, eventually, one of these days. Anyways, prepare for another jump cut, because I'm going to go ahead and tune, and after I tune, I'm going to prepare some music, and we're just going to have a good time. Oh wait, there's one last thing that I need in order for the saxophone to be complete. Let me go grab it real quick. This is the complete saxophone. You always gotta go with some style, especially if you're playing jazz. Okay, so what you just heard was House of the Rising Sun. It's a traditional song. If you guys have never heard the song before, like that was your first time hearing the melody, I highly recommend that you go look it up. Especially Peter Hollins. If you look at Peter Hollins on YouTube, House of the Rising Sun, it's an amazing masterpiece of work. Normally, I would just play one song on a Saxophone Saturday along with some music facts or trivia or just things that you might want to know or things that I thought were interesting. But today's going to be an exception. Not only is it the first Saxophone Saturday, but actually, as I'm recording this, it is not Saturday. I'm actually recording this on a Wednesday, and I happen to have a really good friend who it's their birthday today. So I am going. In fact, they're messaging me right now, which is why I'm doing the weird finger thing. So you can blame them for that. I'm joking, of course, but yeah. So I'm getting ready. I figured to honor that, I'll go ahead and play an extra song in dedication to them and their birthday. Now, hopefully, you can figure out what song I'm about to play from the context, and if you can't, hopefully you can recognize the melody. If you can't, well, I don't think Gabe will be mad at me for saying that some of you Kuhnmeisters have been sleeping under a rock. I'll go ahead and play the song, and we'll talk about it after. All right, so I just played. What did I just play? House of the Rising Sun. That's what it was. I'm sorry. I just played House of the Rising Sun, and I just played Happy Birthday. Both are fairly recognizable pieces, and there's not. There is a lot of history behind both of them, but there's not. Well, I'm going to be honest. I haven't really done any research on the history behind them, but I assume there's a lot of history behind them. A lot of music does have history behind it, and so if that's something that you're interested in, and maybe me putting in future episodes, if I play a song, explaining the history, the context behind it, that's something that I'd be delighted to do, because knowing the history or context behind music before you play it or before you listen to it can really change how the music is interpreted, how it's played, and how it feels when you listen to it, which is one of the amazing and beautiful things about music. With that being said, things that I would love to see in the comments section are, songs that you would like me to play, or maybe just music suggestions in general, because I love music. I can do all kinds of stuff with music. Saxophone is going to be the main thing on the Saturdays that I'll be uploading, because it's Saxophone Saturday, but there is room for other stuff, if enough people want to see it. I will admit that, of course, I'm not the best saxophonist out there. I know it's such a surprise, as much as I talk about Persephone, and as much as I talk about playing the saxophone, and as much as I talk about music, because, I love all of that stuff, and I've been playing for a really long time now, and so I'd say that I'm more advanced than like a beginner or a starter, but obviously I've got so much more to learn, and, just critiquing on myself on what I just recorded, I noticed that there's an airy sound, and that's because I'm not blowing my air necessarily as fast as what I should be doing. So in case you're a saxophonist too and you're struggling to get the airy sound or a reedy sound to go away, one of the ways you fix that is by blowing with faster air. Now, faster air doesn't necessarily mean more air, because more air will make you play louder. That's how you get fortissimo and forte to come out, is you put through more air. A good metaphor to explain that, because that sometimes confuses people, is a tiny car and a loaded up semi can drive down the highway at the same speed, but the semi has way more in it than the tiny car does. And that's similar to your air. You can put more or less air through the instrument, but you can also change the speed in which the air flows. And that's in correlation, that kind of relates to it. So a lot of times people say to get the reedy sound out, to get the airy sound out, you use more air, and that's true. But it's not necessarily a quantity of air that you want. You want speed of air, and so that's something that I obviously lacked in that in those both of those songs. So that's something that I've got to work on as a personal musician, and it's not just on the alto saxophone that's an issue with. It's also an issue on the bass saxophone. The second thing that I noticed is that I'm tonguing really heavily. In case you didn't know, in music you have articulation and you have slurs. There's a slur, you don't necessarily need a tongue. However, if there's no slur, then you do need a tongue. And basically you're tapping the tongue on the tip of the reed, and it stops the sound for just half a second. And it's supposed to make like the articulations to create like separate the notes basically. And on the bass saxophone, you have to tongue harder because it's a bigger instrument. And I'm so used to playing the bass saxophone because, by the way, even though I own Persephone, like I own an alto and I don't own a bass saxophone, I still play the bass saxophone at school. So while I'll practice Persephone at home, you know, once or twice a week, and I'm going to start doing it a lot more now that I'm making these videos, of course, I play the bass saxophone every day at school. And even on weekends, sometimes on weekends and, you know, on breaks and stuff like that. Like the bass saxophone is something I'm constantly playing. Even over the summer, I march the bass saxophone in the marching band, so I'm playing it over the summer as well. Well, that's not the thing against the alto saxophone. It's just saying that I don't play it as much. And so habits that you pick up on the bari carry over to the alto when they shouldn't. And that's where the over-tonguing comes in. So when you combine the two, you get an average playing. Like, of course, you can look up recordings and find way better recordings out there. And I'll admit that's something that I need to work on. How many times have I said that in this video? That is something that I will work on though, because I want to give you guys the best quality music I can provide. And keeping in mind that this is not just a place where you can hear like good saxophone music and saxophone music that improves, but it's also a place where you can kind of learn about the saxophone as well. And I'm really excited. Now, of course, this isn't a saxophone-oriented channel. It's just like one, you know, themed video that gets released once a week. And if you're interested in more saxophone, obviously you can follow one of my social media pages. I'll leave those links in the description, and then you can DM me private messages for specific questions about the saxophone, or you can follow my private channel, Shavo Hames. I'll probably upload some more saxophone videos on there, although I can't promise anything because my first dedication is to this channel specifically, because I'm doing it not only because I like making videos, but I'm trying to help out Psycho Kun, which is an amazing friend of mine. So there's that. Yeah, I'm really excited. If you are interested in like more saxophone content, and way more than just the once a week content, there are Better Sax and Saxologic are two really great saxophone YouTubers that make constant upload of, you know, tips and advice for playing your instrument, but also like sometimes they'll release solos and stuff like that. And then if you want like an actual like soloist, there's Grace Kelly and Leo P are both really good saxophonists that I follow and a lot. So those are some extra resources for you along with this channel. If saxophone is something that you're really interested in, or if it's just music in general, they can also be really great resources as well. So with that being said, I guess it's time for me to finally end this video. Make sure you drop a like if you liked it, share it if you really liked it, and be swell to hit that bell to get notifications, because we're fighting that algorithm back with every click we get. Yes, we are. Stay safe and stay fresh, guys.